Hello out there in SIGT land. Bit excited today. It's December 24th, the day before Christmas, and I got my new sight. I know I asked you guys some questions about some sights, and I kind of made some decisions off of what red dot you liked. I know some guys out there wanted me to get a magnified scope already, and I didn't want that. I really wanted to stick with my red dot and my magnifier. So I got my Aimpoint in today. Awesome, right before Christmas. Got my 3-gun coming up here shortly on the 2nd, and I'm kind of excited to get this thing sighted all in and make sure it's all sighted up. I kind of took my sights and moved them around on my rifle, so I think everything's kind of fallen out a little bit. But I went with the Aimpoint, and this is the Pro, and Pro stands for Patrol Rifle Optic. And so far it seems like a pretty stout sight. It mounts up on my AR pretty good. As you can see there, here's the Aimpoint Pro. Pretty stout. I'd have to say it's a very well built piece. Kind of adds a little bit of weight, but I'd say no worse, no less than the EOTech I had borrowed off a Poundy and stuck on there for a while. But I got my cheap little sight mark magnifier here, which does the job, magnifies, and, you know, not much, and seems to stay pretty stoutly on there, you know, bumping it around. It doesn't seem to want to fall until you really want to push it over and put it out. So I'm not going to give up on that. I'm not doing any heavy battling, just some 3-gun. So, let's see if you can see this. I thought this was pretty neat for Aimpoint to do this, but I don't know if you can see that knob right there, but that's the tighten and loosen knob. It's actually got, once you over tighten, you get it tight to a point, it actually clicks over, so you can't tighten it, over tighten it anymore. Pretty nice little auto click feature there. I don't know if we can see that. Let's see if I get a flashlight here. Yeah, there we go. But you can see the little ratchets inside the clicker there that ratchet the tightener. So pretty impressed so far. If all the reviews are true on it, and it actually does hold battery life for 3 years on number 7, which is still a pretty bright setting on that. 3 years out of battery life, at least I won't have to throw it in the safe and be like, oh crap, did I turn that light off? I might have to get a new battery. Part of the reason why I actually got this stock here was because it has a nice little compartment, and I had other batteries and stuff shoved up in there for other sights that I had rolling at the time. Even a 123, which I'm going to have to get out of there. I'll still probably keep an extra battery back for the sight mark. It takes a specialized battery, and can't remember the name of it. I'll look it up here real quick. I'm sure you guys are all screaming it. It's the battery. That's the, you know, what battery is that? Let's see. Let's see, battery size, 1 3-volt lithium type battery, 2L76 or DL1/3N, and that's 1-3N, so I'm going to call that 1/3N, and I guess you can find them online. Maybe some gun stores might have them, but if you hit 3 years on it, it even says it right there, 7 out of 10, let's see, where did it go to, yeah. Right there in the instructions. 3 years on 7 out of 10. I'd say that's a pretty good battery life. So, yeah, I mean, that was my big selling point on it. I mean, other reviews said it's a pretty stout sight, so, and it looks like it's stout, built very stout. I like the fact that your caps here, you can unscrew them, and you don't lose the cap because it's left on there. Little hanger, and came with a mount, came with the sight riser already installed so that you can co-witness with your backup sights. With every gun that I have a battery optic, I'm going to have some backup sights on it. I have to have my backup sights down if I want the magnifier to go on. But the nice thing about the little sight mark is you just clip it off and it falls out of the way. So, you know, not a bad little magnifier for the price. I don't remember. I got this one on trade, so didn't really lose a lot on it. But yeah, I always have my backup flip-up sights there. And it does co-witness perfectly with the Aimpoint. They give you the option there. You can see those holes in the mount that they give you. You can actually take that section off there and drop it down. So if you want a really low profile sight, you can do that too. And all in all, it's a pretty good stout sight. It's got a nice click, you know, crisp click over, and even comes with the covers, you know, front and the back covers there. It's got kind of like a anti-glare red reflector on the front there. And the mount's really good, well-built mount. I'd have to say it's a pretty good price for what it is. I mean, like I said, after all the reviews that I read on it and seen the people do a lot of the reviews, it's pretty stout sight. I even seen one guy take his sight, take it off his gun, chuck it off into the dirt, and then throw it back on his gun and run it. So I don't think I'm going to do that and chance it. I don't really want to screw something up intentionally, even though, you know, if it does take that hit, it does, and hopefully it stands up. I'm pretty sure it will after that guy did it and was very confident in his sight doing that. But I'd say all in all, it's a good sight. I'll probably do a range review of this. I like the fact that on this sight, the dot itself is just a single dot. And the EOTech had more of a crosshair style dot. It had a circle with a dot in the middle and kind of like two tabs. And I know that's for ranging, you know, farther ranges and stuff like that. But the thing I found it was an issue with me is it felt like it took up too much of the screen. It covered up the targets quite a bit, you know, so I just couldn't get that finite target that I was looking for. You know, I'd have to turn it down. The controls that on the one that Poundy let me borrow were in the front here. So, you know, having the sight flipped up, you couldn't really screw with it too much, you know, to brighten or whatever. And it was this weird push button thing that, you know, you had to push two buttons to turn it off and hold it. And it was always like, oh, I'm pushing the two buttons. So I know they're very good sights. I know they have a lawsuit out there. And the lawsuit was specifically for a certain temperature where the sight would start not holding zero, and it was a very, very low temperature. So, you know, operating conditions probably the military might see fighting in Antarctica or something like that, that sight wouldn't hold. But from what I can tell from the naysayers or the people that are backing up EOTech is, you know, those conditions, they're very harsh and no sight's really going to operate in those conditions anyways. So I was just like, I'm just going to go ahead and pick up this Aimpoint for the battery life and some of the other reviews on it. And so far I'm very happy, very stout, you know, good solid sight. I like the fact that the controls are right up here. I can adjust the brightness on the fly, and it's not this weird push button thing in the front. I know some of the other EOTechs have them on the sides where you can push the buttons on the sides and adjust it, and that's probably a little bit nicer, but they're a little bit more expensive. But so far I'm very ecstatic with this sight. I'll be taking it out to the range and trying it out a little bit more and seeing how it does. But like I said, so far I think it's a pretty good sight. And even this little magnifier on the back, this little sight mark magnifier is a pretty good little magnifier. I mean, like I said, it's not the stoutest of all the things that you can get, and maybe, yeah, if I was going to trust my life every day to a magnifier, I'd probably want something a little bit better than this, especially if I was going to get beaten around a little bit. I can tell on this magnifier where you can see the rubs right here where the aluminum's actually rubbing out. So I didn't really care too much for that, but it does clip in pretty nice. And like I said, if I was battling with my life every single day, I'd probably get another magnifier. And, you know, the old trusty Surefire flashlight, I've got it rigged up here with the depressor. You know, pretty much if I want to wake up in the middle of the night and I feel like the interior of my house is defended well and I want to go to the exterior and see if something is going on out there, I can grab that. I've got my Surefire ready to rock and roll. And that's if those extreme conditions arise, and hopefully they never do. But I don't know. It's so far I'm liking the sight, and I don't know if you want me to talk about some of the other things on my rifle. I can kind of go over, but it's not very fancy. I got the Samson 7-inch forearm here, the handguard. I really like that handguard. If you can see, I'm pressing on it pretty stoutly, and I get no deflection. And that's kind of one of the things I really look for in a handguard, is that deflection, because I feel like if that's going to deflect against the barrel, that means that everything kind of fall out of true. So even the small amount of deflection right here would throw this optic out. So I'm very confident in that Samson rail that I can press on that barrel, and man, it's, I mean, a minuscule amount of deflection. So that means if I'm pressing, I'm holding up here, holding my barrel on something, which I don't ever recommend doing, sighting off of a bag or something on your barrel. I always like to have the bag here when I'm sighting stuff in, is so that you're not getting that deflection and it throws your sight optics off. I've done that a few times in my earlier shooting days, where I took a bag, set it up underneath the barrel, sighted my optic in. I was hitting great, and I pull it off the bag and I hold it up, and I'm like, man, I'm miles off with this thing. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I realized that I had the bag up here, and it was contorting the rifle in such a way, just that minuscule amount, that those farther shots were falling way off target. And that's why I like the Samson rail. And the other thing I liked about it was a very good, fair price. With the Samson rail, they actually gave you a couple of the Picatinis that mount. So, you can mount little things on there. I actually had a laser on there, which I never ever thought I'd use. I just kind of threw it on there to make a ridiculous rifle. Now I'm starting to use this more for 3-gun and the weight. I'm kind of worrying about the weight. It's still a very heavy barrel. This is a Rock River barrel. Rock River upper. I got a Anderson manufacturing lower that I put together. And the only thing on the inside I put in here is I have another one of these kits. I put this little spring kit here from JP Enterprises. $10 from JSC down in Cape. Pretty good investment. It makes that trigger pull a lot more tolerable. Drops that trigger pull quite a bit. Nothing much else. Of course, a little mounting bracket back here for my single point sling, and then I also got a little finger extender there, so I can do one-handed charge, which works really good for the one-handed charging. And one of my things I'm always happy about, I love showing that off. See, it says it's always something. That's my company motto. I don't know if my shirt says it. Yep, right there. See, it's always something. Well, this one is problem solved. So it's my problem solver. But hopefully I never have to use it in anger. We can just use it for 3-gun. Doing some fun competitions, and never ever hope to have to use it to defend myself, because it's probably pretty scary, because you're risking a lot more than just fun. It's your life. 3-gun's just fun and minor life risking. These are dangerous weapons, so always be careful, be safe, shoot straight, and I don't know, just have a good time. It's Randy.